Is 249 AR. People run screaming in a trade city at the northmost point of the continent. Smoke stings their eyes, flames burn their skin. Those few who survive will be scarred for life, physically and mentally. In the skies above the carnage, glimpsed through the ash and plumes, dragon riders command their mounts to rain hell down upon the city, incinerating buildings, ships, and civilians. There'd been no time. No one had known this was coming. Even if rumors had reached the ears of informants, none would have believed that King Leonov would have initiated such a brutal massacre. Astride his golden dragon, the proud young king leads his fellow dragon riders into one final swoop against the port city's crucial harbor, and then, as quickly as they had arrived, they retreat, leaving death and destruction behind them. This incited what would become known as Leonov's War, which raged for 2 years. King Leonov's strategic enemy's critical port city before declaring war proved to be his downfall, however, as the slaughter of innocents made it difficult for those who would have otherwise been allied with him to stand alongside him. With no allies in the struggle, Leonov was forced to agree to a peace treaty. This treaty forged the Federation of Malim, replacing Leonov's kingdom with a government comprised of council members representing each participating nation of Elzveir. This included the 3 principalities of Fenar, which had been disproportionately giving power to the foe he had sworn to destroy. Leonov's infant son would become a council member, stripped of his right to inherit the throne of Malim. Now, in the year 301 AR, Malim has enjoyed 50 years of peace since the establishment of the Federation. The appointed dukes and duchesses from each of the representing nations of the continent convene twice annually in the capital city to discuss matters of state. In a few days, they will return to the capital, though it is for an occasion of joy rather than a wedding. A large town has been built up around Malim's most significant train station, built east of the fjord. Staying here wasn't originally part of the plan, but the Duke of Kilsini insisted upon it after just a few days of hard riding on the journey to the capital city. Outside of the town, a noble's entourage encampment has been established about a kilometer away, built upon an uneven landscape of shale and mud. 3 banners fly the 3 principalities of Fenar that made a pit stop in the junction last night. But within the town, some of the more esteemed guests have been permitted to rest, their aching, road-weary bodies in desperate need of better beds than the road could offer. A loud train whistle rattles dust from the windows of the town's only inn, a 4-story brick building. And this whistle awakens our first character to introduce, Owen, Siegfried Sonder.
We did some hard riding and we went to town. That.
Hey, first of the show.
Oh, it's too early. Gotta rail on it, Siegfried. So, a loud train whistle outside shakes the entire inn. It's happened a few times while you were trying to get your sleep last night, but you were tired enough to get a decent amount of rest. But you do jolt awake. Would you please describe your character and tell us what you do?
All right. So, my character is Siegfried Sonder. He's a mega folk lion hybridia. Bigger guy. And right now he's like wearing almost nothing because he doesn't like to wear clothes when he sleeps. But hanging by his bedside is his normal tunic. It's got like some darker colors for his traveling gear, but like his belt and his scimitar and then his cloak are all colored with the colors of his house, of House Sonder, and also the colors of the Duchy of Ukwam and just Bornish royalty in general. So he's got like orange and green primarily, like on his cloak and on his belt and everything, and then on his scimitar he has like short ribbons that hang off the hilt that are like a pink sapphire and like a light blue color as well. But yeah, as he wakes up, he just sort of looks around for a minute, is glided and hit his head on the ceiling.
As your eyes open, you see a ceiling fan above you that's kind of slowly spinning. And when that dust was rattled the building, some of it like kicked up into the air, and now the ceiling fan is just kind of dispersing it a little bit. And as you look up there, some of it just lands in your eye.
Ugh, that's annoying. Take my very large, just like lick my thumb and just, yeah.
Just clean those eyebrows.
Yeah. And then I'll just like, what do I know that we're supposed to be doing today?
This is the last day of travel. This evening you should arrive in the capital city.
Okay. So they'll come tell me when it's time to leave.
Probably, yeah.
Cool. I just keep staring at the ceiling fan. I'm just like,
as you lay there staring at the ceiling fan, you hear another door near yours opening. There's a bit of fuss, and then you hear the voice of Yorica Hagland kind of calling out and saying, "Was no one going to tell me when breakfast was? What is going on here? Good Lord, do I have to do everything myself in this inn?" And then footsteps retreating.
and I just keep laying there.
All right, lay there.
Actually, I say laying there, but then I get up and I'm gonna cautiously head to wherever the breakfast would be, wherever she may be going to get breakfast.
Yeah, you get up and you step out of your room after you don your gear. It's a small inn. Like everybody had smaller rooms, and it's got like those old like Wild West like wireframe cot beds that just have a really thin mattress on it. It's still better than sleeping in a tent, but not by a whole lot. But at least you weren't being rained on or anything like that while you were sleeping. So you head down, you step out into like this wooden hallway that's very narrow, especially for you, but like you can't even imagine how your father managed to get through here. Like your shoulders are almost scraping each side of the wall from this hallway. And you see Viorica kind of retreating down. You see like the back of, she's already wearing like her green and gold dress despite the fact that the sun has probably only just risen like maybe 30 minutes ago or so. And she's got her like gold and pigtails that are pulled back behind her right now. And she just kind of disappears around the corner heading down the stairs.
Yeah, I'll follow pretty far behind, but I'll follow. I mean, I like food.
Yeah.
So. So Artie will kind of get up pretty quickly in a way to, I guess he didn't sleep super well last night based on both the train and his own nerves, knowing that today is the day to reach their destination. So he's also a lion megafolk like his older brother, Siegfried. He reaches to the nightstand to find his very thick-rimmed golden glasses that he puts on his face, and he's just kind of wearing silk pajamas, green, but normally, very royal attire, including the orange cape that his father also wears over his right shoulder, which is hanging over the bed frame right now. His mane has lots of nervous little knots tied into it,
and his claws are very uneven from chewing on them and with nervous energy, and he will stand up and go look outside at the train yard.
As you look outside, you see the station is like right across from the inn, and then there's just the train that separates it. You can kind of see the station right now, enough that even though the people disappear into the train pretty quickly, you do see a number of people that are like getting on, and a few people that are stepping off of the train with luggage and servants and things of that nature. Most of the trains that have come through have been cargo trains that quick stop here for rest or something like that, and then they have carried on to whatever their next destination was instead of actually unloading in this spot. But this appears to be a large passenger train, so there's a lot of people who are getting on and off here.
Can I see any steel joints down here?
I'll say first check of chapter 1, give me a notice check.
17.
Yeah, you see a steel joint that is down there. He looks like a Zellian steel joint, so he's a little more not necessarily advanced, but like blocky looking. And he's got a big straw hat on. He's got like a little. He's just wearing just overalls as he steps off of the train with a small satchel over his shoulder. Kind of looks around, shrugs his shoulders, and then steps off and starts heading into town.
So kind of, Artie will just kind of marvel at the whole side of this, both the train and the steel joint, something he's, I say, never seen before or just rarely seen before.
You've seen rarely, and like you've traveled, and they are in other cities besides the one that you've been, but it is rare to see them out here.
He's just kind of thinking of all these questions he'd love to join, which I'm sure would annoy them to no end. So, yeah, he'll just be kind of looking out the window, nervously fidgeting his hands, knowing what a big day he's about to have.
All right. As you kind of stare out that window, your stomach does begin to growl. You've had nothing but camp food for the last couple of days. It's about 2 or 3 days of travel since Kilsina City. And the good food you had in Kilsini kind of spoiled you a bit. And then when you went back to eating hardtack, you've just been eating some nicer food here before you have to head out.
Okay, well, I will get dressed and slip my boots on and make my way downstairs.
All right. Start heading downstairs. As you're making your own way downstairs, Siegfried, you finally reach the bottom floor. You guys had stayed on the 4th floor of the brick building here in the inn. And this is also like those Wild West like one street towns. It's just a street. There's the train yard behind the inn, and then the other side is like all like wooden and brick buildings. The inn is the tallest building here, and it's a 4-story like square like normal brick building. It's just very plain looking, except to some of you because this architecture is technically new. It's been built in like the last 25 years or so. Like this is very different from what you are used to back in Uquim City. It hasn't been retrofitted or anything like that. It is just a square red brick building that is designed for phone, and so it's very different from everything else. The windows have panes and all of that, and you see that in some of the other buildings as well. So Siegfried, as you make your way down like this long staircase, you see some people have already kind of gathered in the entrance to the inn. It seems like some people either stayed here overnight, and then there's others who probably this is the only real restaurant in this small town, so they come here to eat their breakfast sometimes. There's some folks that you can tell are clearly regulars at the inn here who are chatting up the waiters and waitresses and things like that, but it's fairly empty. There's several like completely empty tables. And you see Viorica sitting at a table, and there is a steel joint who is standing next to her with a like bow tie kind of attached, and then not much else. He's just kind of like taking her order down, and she is clearly angry about it, but is too hungry to really dismiss him. So you just kind of can't tell what they're saying, but you can tell just by their mannerisms. The steel joint is irritated, and so is Viorica.
Okay. Aside from not in the way stairs, but I'm just gonna keep standing there. I'm just gonna like wait a little while. Mostly just wait for her to get her food.
All right. So Artie, as you head down the stairs, you're down like the first flight of stairs when you hear footsteps coming behind you. And as you turn around, you see a man wearing a green suit. He's got like a golden flower already pinned to the shirt, and he has as I've said before, just kind of picture like Neil Patrick Harris as Count Olaf. And look on the kind of hawkish nose, but handsome-ish, and he's got a thin, well-trimmed goatee. It looks like he just finished grooming it like a few minutes ago. He's just very smooth-skinned. As Trousseau Procor, the president of the Federation, steps behind you and says, "Morning, Archib Sonder."
Good morning, President.
Neither did I. Kind of looks around. Know there's air conditioning in this building. People can crawl in those vents. We should be careful. And he just moves past you.
Artie will kind of look up.
Look up. There's like small vents. You know you couldn't fit in there. Maybe a child could. And yeah, and they're all like exposed ventilation too, so you can like see the ductwork and everything.
Okay, he'll kind of put that extra anxiety in the back pocket and will continue making his way to the...
You head downstairs, you pass by your brother, Siegfried, and Siegfried Trousseau Procor walks just ahead of Archim. So he's like a couple of paces ahead. He goes and sits at the table across from Viorka. Oddly, as the steel joint is there, says, "I would be much more comfortable if a person took our order, please." And steel joint kind of rolls his shoulders and says, "Of course. Allow me to fetch another waiter for you. My apologies for the inconvenience I've caused." And turns and walks away.
Yeah, I'll go sit next to Trousseau across from Bjorka.
Trousseau looks at you. "Hey, you didn't sleep well either."
What makes you say that?
"I don't see how anyone can sleep well in this town with all the noise of the train and the hum of the electricity."
Yes, it was impossible to sleep. I'll look across to Bjorka and like, you definitely missed out on your beauty sleep.
Give me a whatever. The 4.
Oh wait, I get enhancements with my stuff with House Haglin, right?
It's House Haglin, so yeah, you can enhance it. Speech check.
Okay, it's a 15.
15. Okay. She kind of like winces at that, and looks at you and says 16. Okay. Yeah, she just kind of looks at you, kind of cocks her head a little bit. She's back.
I smile.
Yeah. She just kind of says, "Well, you would have missed out on yours as well if you'd gotten laid like I did." And she just takes a big sip of her water.
No bitchin'.
Oh, trust me, I had a fine appointment with Jill last night.
Who is Jill?
J-I-L.
Please, enough. Good Lord. Trousseau is amused enough that you can increase your standing with House Procor.
Oh yeah.
But he will just kind of say, "Children." But you can tell he enjoyed the exchange. Yeah, so go ahead and increase your standing with House Procor with that one. Artie, what are you doing? As you can't hear with like all the chat, you didn't hear it, but you have seen Siegfried do the J. Yeah. And you know that's what he was telling her. He's done it many times, and it was probably funny the first 2 or 3. This is like the 300th.
Yeah. Artie will sit next to Siegfried and he will say, "Brother, you're going to spoil my appetite before I even have food.
Wow.
It's a little early to be talking about that."
Wow, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead and take a payer point there, Siegfried. And as we pan away from there, once your food is ordered, and you're waiting for that to arrive, we pan over to Liam O'Connell. Liam, where are you right now, and what are you doing?
Liam is heading back. It's the time they've just ordered.
Yeah, they have.
Okay. So Liam was up before sunrise to get in a workout in the yard with after the long ride
So you're working out with anybody, or?
His muscles were stiff.
Yeah.
Needed some opportunity to work through that to be ready for the days that are ahead. Stretch a little bit and loosen up. So he headed out early, find a spot to work out, and as now in his room, having freshened up. So he is tall, with dark hair that is characteristic for his family historically. It is for his immediate family, olive red hair, definitely a recessive trait for anybody who's met them. And they, but he has like a jet black hair. He looks youthful despite his age, and is putting on his usual uniform as the Janissary Aga. Very well tailored. It is the standard uniform, but it's just been appropriately modified for him. He does take a lot of pride. So he gets that assembled, packs his stuff back up to be ready to leave, and pauses for a minute, and instead of packing it back away where he's been keeping it safe, takes the favor given to him by Nisha and tucks it away. And
So this like pink and this like turquoise and pink gradient ribbon that kind of fades between the two colors.
he took of his vest and grabs his flat cap and heads out towards.
As you step out, you end up across from Aelia Targan, who's kind of standing in front of a door, and you can hear loud giggling and chortling from behind the door. She just kind of raises an eyebrow at you. I suspect that Yule will be another hour or so. He has a lot of vitality for his age.
So I've heard.
So I'm hearing.
Yeah. Must be exhausting.
And Aelia just kind of, she's got this long golden hair that has a couple of strands of gray that you can just barely see. You spend enough time with her training now that you have recognized where the gray hairs are, so you can kind of see it, but most people, because she's an elf, assume she's very young, but you know that she's at least 300 years old. And she's already wearing like her green suit with like golden pauldrons and such. It's not super defensive. This is more of like a royal uniform, but it does have some like armor pieces to it for protection that she uses. And then she has her sword that she is holding right now, and then a huge axe on her back. Very intimidating thing to see as soon as you step out of the door, even if you've already seen it several times. You just see her just kind of standing in front of Gil's door guard, and just kind of gives you a nod. Enjoy breakfast for me.
Good to be here all night.
No, but he did want to enjoy himself this morning.
I would bring you something, but I don't imagine you feel like eating at the moment.
Not really. And you hear, she's kind of, yes. It is a real honor to aid the Kingdom of Feindar in the ways that I do.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way.
There's worse ways to honor the kingdom, it sounds like. In my mind, I thought he was having alone time, so hearing him say that's so funnier.
Wow. No, he actually has Jill in there.
This is over quickly enough that your stomach can settle and you'll be ready to eat.
Surprised that it lasts a lot longer than you think. But please, I'm sure I will enjoy tack on the road.
All right, and he will.
You nod, and you head down the stairway, and you see Truso Procor sitting with Archim, Siegfried, and Viorka Haglund. And food is brought to their table. A human woman waiter who just kind of like sets out plates of bread and fruit and cheese for all of them. Yeah, the bread disappears. You ever cheese? Now there's just fruit.
Is the bread bottomless?
It would have been until they saw how much you ate. They scratched bottomless off of the menu.
You will find an appropriate place to sit, probably down table from them. and take part in whatever's offered.
Sit down and start eating. That will take us then to Ulysses. Introduce your character and tell us what you're doing right now.
Ulysses or Monty, or short.
Is that the short form of Ulysses?
Beaumont.
Oh, Monty.
Really?
We are all so slow. Raise your hand if you just got that.
No, but
He doesn't say the last name a lot.
he's a white man, but he's slightly dark complexion. Blonde, dirty blonde hair with a streak of lighter hair, almost like maybe straw, almost white down the side. He would have been falling in and out of sleep the whole night with the sound of the electricity, same as Trousseau. So at some point he would have just sat by his window pane and looked down on the town and attempted to meditate, as he's been trying to do more of. To do that, part of that would involve boiling his blade, and he will probably, well, when he realizes, no, that's why I look at you. No.
If he didn't start giggling, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, he was when he realized that he had. No, it's all weird. That he had over-oiled his blade. He will take his linen sleeve and take some of that off. He'll sheath it back and put on his golden green gambeson, equip his very large lion's pauldron. Take a deep breath and look for some food.
All right. As you're heading out, you, more than anybody else so far, hear the electricity. Like, you can just hear this faint buzzing, and it's hard to tell if it's actually there or if it's all in your head. But you can swear the entire night you just heard this faint bzz, just from all of the electricity that's in this room. There's a ceiling fan that you couldn't figure out how to turn off. Every time you tried to turn it off, it just got a little bit faster, and so you just gave up out of fear that it would just eventually fall off of the ceiling.
Boy, that sounds like a hipster bee.
Yeah. And you, as you step out, you see kind of like almost diagonal in the hallway as he moves the form of Landon Saunder II, this huge lion megafolk, standing roughly 2 meters tall, a little bit above that. He's got this huge golden mane, and he's kind of like trying to sidle through the hallway. And he is in full armor already. And then he has his great sword sheathed at his side, and he kind of turns towards you and says,
Your Grace.
Ulysses, how did you sleep last night?
Rather hard.
Same here. I do not know why Gil wanted to stop here. I know he is not as averse to technology as we are, but this is too much. It's noisy as hell.
You already know from my plans I had tried to avoid it myself.
I wish I had stayed in the tent, but the bed sounded too good. Which, we will need to speak with the inn staff because I broke the bed when I slept on it.
thank you. And he continues to sneak through, and you're like behind him, so you're just waiting behind him, like slowly stepping and see, yeah, very much. And then he finally like kind of almost like pops out into the stairwell and
Gods, I hope that the halls in Makalim City prove wider than this. I know the castle at least will be more generous with its space. Who designs a building like this?
And then he moves down the stairways, and every single step you're like terrified that the stair is going to crack and like break. And so he just kind of gradually steps, and you just see like a few like splits in the wood steps, and so he keeps trying to step a little bit more lightly, but is clearly struggling not to destroy this place as he moves. But you make your way downstairs. Landon Sonder takes up a seat next to Trousseau, and you can go ahead and sit wherever you want. You see the others there, Liam and Siegfried, Viorica, and Archim.
First, I'll look for someone from the staff.
For the staff. Okay. Yeah, you see like some waiters and stuff. A steel joint catches your eye, but I'm guessing that you have.
I would prefer that if I can avoid him.
Yeah, you can. You kind of like, you approach like the steel joint for a moment, recognize what it is, and you wait for a different waiter to be available. And as soon as one walks away from another table, you kind of catch her attention. I mean, she kind of looks at you. Yes, how can I help you?
My lord broke a bed last night.
Was it Duke Haviland again?
Yeah. Sonder himself. Oh. This isn't going to be a problem, is it?
No, of course not. We will replace it right away. We keep spare ones in case Gil visits.
Really?
All right, of course. If you could compensate us for the broken bed, of course. They are expensive.
Shouldn't feel expensive.
I just stare at her. I say nothing.
Okay, well, thank you, Lord.
And she gives you like a quarter bow and heads into the back kitchen. You hear a loud sigh from back there from someone else that she's apparently just told. And then was it Duel? All right, you go and take your seat with everyone else. And that will take us all the way away from the town, about 1 kilometer away to the encampment. We'll start with Euphora. If you would introduce yourself, tell us what you look like, what you're doing, all of that.
Yeah, so I assume I'm in a tent, right? Okay. Am I sharing the tent with Eva?
No, you have your...
Okay. So I'm in a tent, and I wake up in the tent, but it looks like you can't tell it's a tent at first because of just the sheer amount that I have laid out. Just very fussy and annoying. I'm on like several, like a cot with like, it looks like almost like a bed. It is as close as it could get, but it all collapses down. I'm surrounded by just like suitcases and chests and whatever. And I'm sleeping in a green and gold satin little night dress with a little mustache hat. And I've got these bright red ears, and I have kind of a half humanoid, half fox-like face with some red fur on both hands. I'm kind of short, and I just look ridiculously put together for having just woken up. My hair is done up in like a braid, and I'm gonna get up and start to begin the grueling process of getting fully ready and packed. So we leave this evening before I go find Aoife and go find the Procard children that we're looking after.
As you step out of the building, you see Kaya Procor already kind of talking to some of the guards who are trying to listen intently to what she's saying, but are having a hard time keeping a straight face as she's bossing them around, because technically right now, Kaya and Nihat are the two highest ranking people in the encampment.
Oh, I see. So is there a building?
You're about 1 kilometer away from the town.
Okay, so you said outside of the building, but you mean the tent.
Yeah.
So the children were sleeping in the encampment. Yeah, they're sleeping in the encampment. Okay, so I'm gonna approach, and
Kaya, you see just this small girl, roughly about like 9 or 10 years of age, it looks like. She has her hair already like pulled into pigtails. Not super well done. Looks like she just did them rather hastily, but she is wearing her golden green dress already. She's just yelling at the guards.
Idiot. It's been sunrise for so long. This is insane. Wait until I tell my father about all of this.
And she looks at you.
Euphora, they have not finished making breakfast. We have to leave soon.
my lady, I am so sorry to hear that. I have some biscuits in my tent if you would like to snack on those.
That would be excellent if I could dip them in stew.
It would be indeed. How long?
The guards says the cook will have these
10, 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
It was a long night. We are not used to hearing the sound of the train. Again, apologies, my lady.
Kaya just kind of like puts her hands on her hips. Where are those biscuits?
Come with me. We can snack on some biscuits and I'll do your hair.
Good. Very well. And she will follow you back to your tent. In a different tent, we see our last character, Aoife. If you would introduce yourself and tell us what you are doing right now.
All right. Aoife is somewhere between. She has elven features, but she's very short for an elf. And then she also just looks like a plant. She's part dryad, so she's got actual. For hair, she has actual living plants growing out. She's got some golden flowers, and it's just chaotic. She's got vines around her arms, so there's just. She stops and her gardening job begins. She's got her gardening outfit on, so her nice green overalls, all of her pockets, like her gardening gloves, and then she's got the pink Erdis ribbon probably wrapped somewhere around like the overalls and probably one holding her hair back. So yeah, she would be out and making sure they're doing well on their journey. So she's in the cart with a watering can, just like, all right, you're doing well. You need to drink off.
And on the other side of the carriage is a small boy, Kaya Procor's brother, Nihat. Mop of golden hair, even messier than his sister's was this morning. And he is still wearing his pajamas. Just this golden green, like, satin clothing. And he is, every time that you say, oh, you're doing well. And then he, like, prunes a leaf off. And then when you say, oh, you need some more water, he goes, oh, you need some more water, and puts some water in another one of the plants. You can fix that later if he didn't do it right. You're fairly confident that he did. You've taught him as well as you can, even if this isn't what he's supposed to be doing. But eventually you finish watering all of the plants. Give me a check relating to, you have like a knowledge check for plants, right? Like a botany or something like that. Go ahead and give me that knowledge check. You guys make your way over to the, over to Maji Junction, train station town. And you step over to the main street, and again, it's just like this one, like, kind of dirt, gravelly road that then has multiple buildings on each side, most of them kind of connected to each other physically, like brick buildings and wooden buildings all combined, and then all of them have also this porch walkway you can go down, so you could like step up onto a set of stairs, and there's this long wooden walkway on each side of the strip. And there's folks like kind of see some horse carriages and such moving around, and some people who have just gotten off the train are hailing carriages to take them off to wherever their next destination is, either Makalim City or some neighboring town of some kind. So it's starting to bustle now at this point. You're getting roughly into like the later morning, so now there's quite a few people up and about doing their shopping or things like that. But you eventually make it to the inn, which is just called Inn, being that it is the only one in town. Get to the inn and you see everybody else seated at the table enjoying their meals, and that's where we'll go ahead and do a bio break real quick.
There is a literal spiderweb and spider in the
Hera's scared.
octopus. I was trying to start cleaning out, but he's tiny. He's tiny.
Everybody made their way down to the main floor of the inn, and you see Nihat, Kaya, Euphora, and Ipa all arrive at the entrance as the doors kind of like swing open, or these French doors that kind of move in and out. If you guys push doors, yeah, I hate them. It's okay. We're gonna
Are the doors automatic? Like, how prevalent is it?
they are not automatic doors. No, they are physical. Especially here in a small town like this, they have like what you would consider like the bare bones technology. Like you see, like telephone lines, but the telephone lines are all like local, so they would just connect different buildings here to each other, so they can contact one another.
So it's not like we're in like Seoul, South Korea, right? No. Okay. There's just like more technology that
You're in like it's like 1920s ish, like kind of tech. And especially here, like this is a newer town, but again, it is small. That was just built here for the train station.
So there's nothing. It's not. I wouldn't even call it like a village. It is a one-street town. It's your residential. Most people just pass here. And
This little town or anything like that, is there? If there's no like dupe of this little town or anything, okay.
no, there, especially for like a junction town like this, there wouldn't really be even like a mayor and like that. There's law enforcement and stuff like that. There's some federal soldiers, but no really. Yeah.
Okay.
It's Rango.
And Charlie, I'm going to ask another question. I hope I'm not being annoying. If they're specialized in this town, like, is there like a specialty that they have?
Yeah, just the train station.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too small for any of that. You said everything here is like almost touristy.
You know, big mining town, but for trains instead of the
Town is a liminal space.
When they built the train station, they built it to like they built all of the like main stations to go to roughly where they thought they would need to, with the intention of branching off eventually. And so most of the train stations are in the middle of nowhere essentially, and so little towns popped up around them.
And is it like hilly or mountainy around here?
It's flat, rocky shale and mud here in the middle. And as you get farther south, it's more sand.
Okay.
As you get towards Cipher Life.
You said like 1920s. Is there like any degree of like, car by this point?
Yep, there's cars.
Kind of like
Not here. There's not cars here, but and the roads are a little too narrow for a car here. But you'll see some in Macallan. I'm aware there. Yeah, you are aware that there are cars. They're not long distance. They're usually intracity vehicles. Some vehicles have been designed for long distance, but they're like big trucks that go from one city to. But most people just use the train for that.
So, sorry. So, Euphor is pretty like well traveled, and it's the whole Federation that's like sort of against technology, or is it just like the Sonder family?
It's Einar specifically that is against it, and so that means that House Hagland, House Procor, and House Sonder.
So those are the three principalities.
Yeah, those are the three principalities. Those are the three principalities of Elzveir, and they're the ones you are traveling with right now.
Okay. Against technology for our own purposes, but we don't care that other people are using it. We're not gonna like start a.
They would really, they didn't, and they also have, Einar has a sub-organization that is devoted to hunting and killing steel joints.
Okay.
So they're pretty hateful toward tech, especially steel joints.
But Artie's gonna marry somebody. Is she also against technology? Okay, so interesting.
Oh, okay, we'll get there.
Thank you.
She's, and they are not.
Which is good because based on her prediction, the kid's performance will actually be a throughout.
Favorite with.
You what?
And Mr. House, I have two favorite.
Okay.
That's a good one. So maybe.
Okay. With that, you guys make your way into the town. As you, after chatting briefly, after briefly reminding yourself about how the technology works in this world, you head into the building. And see everybody there sitting and dining. All your food has arrived, everyone who ordered food. And once you guys step inside of the building, as you make your way toward that table, you see Gil Hagland making his way down the stairs ahead. He's kind of like got his finger in his belly button a little bit. It's like you can see he's digging through it, like through his shirt. His suit. But it's not, but one doesn't have like the overcoat on, and two, like the suit is untucked. The pants are saggy, and he's not wearing any shoes. He's just got his socks out, and he has down. The wood floor here is a little too splintery for that. He probably started to it. He's like, I should probably wear socks. So he's heading downstairs, and you see a woman kind of like rush past him. She kind of like quickly brushes her hair. This is a very tall, thin, red-haired woman wearing what looks like a kind of slightly tattered dress, and she walks past him. And gives him a wave over her shoulder as she does and makes her way out of the door. And Gil kind of waves to her, goes and sits down next to Landa. Says,
Oh, well. Everyone else have a good night, huh?
and he's got this, as everybody mentioned before, you pictured Santa Claus. So that's pretty close to accurate. Sorry, kids. Large, kind of chubby man with a big gut. Huge smile on his face, lots of like laughter wrinkles. He's not a really old man. He's in like his 40s or 50s, but his hair has gone gray. It's kind of receding just a little bit, but it's still kept long and neat. Although it looks a little bit tuffled right now. But he kind of sits down with like this waft of a fake scent that goes down the table to everybody, and Landon kind of.
I slept all right. How about you, Gil? Couldn't sleep a wink.
Well, he grabs a huge piece of bread.
What about you guys? Siegfried, Artyom, you enjoy your night here in the inn? I come here often on my way to Makalim City. Stopping in this place.
And Truso just kind of, I wonder why.
Artie will lean into Siegfried and will go, "Didn't know that Duke Hageland exercise."
On in that comes.
He's very active, very vigorous.
Artie will kind of look at his belly and back at you and
It's all muscle.
All right. Well, want to get as much food as I can in me before we hit the road. How long do you think it will be before we reach Matalim City from here? Usually I,
Kind of hesitates for a moment.
well, you know,
Truso, because we will not take the train.
we will be there hopefully by sunset this evening.
Kind of, and you see Truso, and those of you who've been sitting with him have noticed he like keeps nervously looking around at like the air vents and ceiling fans and steel joint that's in the room. And
As we can, so we can leave just to make as much headway as possible.
he kind of wipes his mouth a bit, and stands up. As Kaya and Nihat go and sit down, he looks at them, and then goes back upstairs to gather the rest of his things to burn down.
Do the children look sad?
They don't really say anything. You can give me an intuition check if you want to.
It's okay. I'll get Kaya just like a small plate of like some of the better food.
Still, so they've eaten a lot of it, but you can find like some good pieces of cheese and fruit and stuff.
Yeah, I get it for both the kids.
Artie's barely touched his food. He'll kind of push his plate towards you if you want to have this like
Mark battle
artist plate.
disgusting oatmeal and porters that they have back at the campsite.
All right, my lady. I just want to make sure you've had enough to eat.
Yes, good. And yeah, kind of looks around. What is a horrible smell? And everyone's kind of
It must just be the city. Is it worse in Makalim?
and Gil just kind of says,
Well, it depends on your definition of worse. I think this town smells fine enough. Makalim City has its own unique sense.
and Nihat just kind of goes, I'm looking forward to smelling the city.
What is the smell like?
Right now, it smells like sex.
Ooh. Okay, Euphoria doesn't know that.
Yeah.
So
Mine's like shit.
It just kind of stinks a little bit. And you can tell Gil's a little sweatier.
Oh,
Tastes never changes the bread, just shoves the whole thing into his mouth, mimicking Siegfried a good bit. There, well, I'm not realizing there more bread on the stand. Viorica looks visibly disgusted near her father. Kind of goes,
Well, I am going to go and fetch my belongings so that we can leave post haste. I trust we are meeting them back at the encampment.
and Truso just kind of nods. Yes, or no, nods.
yes, we'll go back to the encampment here shortly once I've had my fill. After a long night of vigorous lovemaking, I do need to eat quite a bit.
He grabs another, like he grabs like a whole bundle of grapes and just rips a whole bunch off with one hand, puts them all in his mouth.
My lady, Kaya, would you like to go anywhere in town before we leave? Is there anything that you need?
It would be nice to have some more hairspray.
you can find some of that. But I have some if you need to use some of mine.
I don't like yours. It's cheap.
Understood.
He's sitting here.
Aoife, is there anything that you made for your
We're
plant
on the same table, really.
while we're here?
We could buy more plants. Maybe they have special plants too.
I will say no to that. So we're considering looking at more plants, or possibly getting more gardening gloves. Possibly new shirts as well. Depends.
You need a new shirt for. I've packed you plenty of lovely shirts. Sheer for cutting. Sheer.
No, if I had a shirt, I'd be asking you. I don't know any.
She doesn't even know what the shear is. You could show she that or garden in her light.
I have not. That's true. She has no need for them.
All right. Well, we best make haste if we're going to. We don't want to hold the camp up. And the children have packed their things, right?
Back up for them.
Okay. Right.
Those guys are all back at the camp as well.
And your things are packed.
More or less.
No, they're not. But that's okay. Someone else will do it probably.
I saw her. I told her, you should pack your things. And then she said no. And I said, I wish that I had known I could not pack my things.
Well, don't embarrass me by holding up the entire camp.
I'll Giovanna rolled back in there.
Okay.
It won't be as pretty as when you do it. I'm not folding a darn thing. It's just getting thrown back in there. Just straight lobbing it.
Oh, don't steam it.
That's how I pack.
And it works.
I just kind of size. You shouldn't be packing at all, Nihan. That's what we have servants for. God, that's what these two are supposed to be doing for us.
Are we supposed to do that, or is that someone else's job?
She seems to indicate that she wants you to, but it is usually someone else's job.
Okay, I would have packed like any of Kaya's like nice belongings and like set out her clothes and fixed all like I would probably.
You wouldn't be expected like at least tear down the tents or anything like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
no.
All right. So the meal continues on. Is there anything anybody else wants to do in the town before you head back to the encampment?
Before Artie goes up to gather his things, he will find the steel joint waiter.
Okay. Yeah. As you stand up and you find Steel Trip Waiter who is taking an order and a teacher.
Oh, my apologies. How can I assist you?
I just wanted to apologize for President Trusso's behavior.
Did you stipulate that you would wait till everyone left?
That was what I wanted to do, yeah. I was to wait until everyone left.
Yeah. I'll say that we'll for a second. Okay then.
I'm going to say what I said.
We'll hold that. We'll hold that for a second here then. As everybody's like kind of getting up stairs, you see a tall, thin, like half elven man with short black hair kind of steps out, and then you see two of your like what looks like two twin brother like blonde haired elven men go down the stairs, all of them like very fit. They're wearing like open vest shirts. They've got like deep V-necks and everything. And they head down the stairs. And then after that, Annabeth Hagel kind of like tosses her black tabby over. She's this tall woman, looks pretty young, like roughly like early 30s or so. Very tall. She's got her silk gown on. And she steps down and sits next to her husband, where Trusso and Layman had been sitting. Kisses him on the cheek and says, "How was your evening, darling?" And Gills goes, "Oh, it was delightful. How was your evening, darling?" And then Beth says, "It was exhausting." And then she grabs a huge piece of bread and just puts it in her mouth. And now it really smells like sex on the table. But everybody, if you hadn't gotten up already, you really want to get up now. And to before they start having sex on the table. Before they start having sex on the table. Yes. So, does anybody stick around in the inn, or do you go anywhere else in the tower, or do you head back to the encampment? Besides you.
I was gonna say, we're going shopping.
And Landon's leaving. I'm gonna get our stuff put together and make sure, and I'm out preparing for us to depart.
Yeah, Landon camping pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'll just follow Landon. I asked that because I am not sure I would let Artie out of my sight during the day.
Okay.
As this trip concerns his safety, yeah, especially. Wouldn't want to leave him. I'm trying not to intrude on, like, you're trying to roleplay, but...
No, my goal was to kind of keep it on the down low with when most people have...
Yeah. So I'll say most people have left. Ulysses is still sitting, like, as far away from the Beth as you can, I'm guessing. They're like whispering to each other, and you're catching like bits and pieces. They are telling each other everything that happened last night.
Tell me two of the bits and pieces. As I get up, I will say, while you think about that, as I hold up today's bit and sure power days in you, he'll say under his breath, "Lord Gyarados, gonna fall in and you cheer."
I'll watch the boy. I can get past the smell.
Spot.
So you like pop them. As he heads, she caught them with both hands. I think she had. Hands were so big.
Don't judge.
That's remarkable, Don.
Remember, we need a party.
I don't even think any of them were paying any attention to me.
So we'll leave.
I think I left at one point and came back, and they hadn't even noticed. All right. It's just you and Ulysses now, and Gil have a bet, but they are not paying attention.
Okay, then yes, Artie will
revise what I said.
Yeah.
A little bit wise. Yeah. And he will say to
Chance.
the steel joint, and he will say, I am sorry if anyone in our wedding party has treated you poorly.
Wedding party. One of you is getting married.
That would, that's what you mean.
At this point, Monty will stand up and approach.
Mazel tov.
Think it's a. Is it causing you a problem?
I apologize. I did not mean to cause any problems.
So, when a better is, well, you said a helping action.
I was,
Please, this smell over here. Or worse than over there. I was just. You got a thing.
chatting to the hired help.
You were hired.
Yes?
Go upstairs and catch your things. Please, Artie.
Come on now. I was already planning to go there, but no.
Still joins.
He's heading back to the kitchen right now after he dismissed himself, but he was still within earshot if you want to yell something at him. Everyone will hear it.
I'll just squint and watch him walk away.
He walks back into the kitchen. Okay. Hastily.
Artie will kind of
You are about to marry into Clan Sigurd-daughter. Do you know how important that is? Do you know how important that is for the relations between Feanor and Alderstein?
I understand how important relations are, yes.
You don't want to be seen misrepresenting Feanor's values, consorting with 10 men.
Artie will just kind of narrow. We'll say,
Artie, don't fight in the office. Stop resisting. Or still the dupes.
he will silently turn around and make his way back to his room to gather his things.
I'll give you both a hero point for that one. As you guys make your way back up to your rooms, gather your things. The rest of you go and do your shopping. Kaya finds a little bottle of like fancy like spray. It's like that big. It costs numerous dollar notes for that. It's just a little spray that kind of keeps her hair from frizzing.
I still have to get it from Trousseau.
Do we get our hero points for arriving, bringing?
Oh yeah, that's right. 1 hero point everybody for arriving, and then
Gets extras.
get one for Fraser, one for bringing food, and then Kelsey, B, and Cooper get one for means.
Yay!
All right, those were pretty good meats.
You said one for getting here early, right?
Yes, that's very fair.
Oh yeah, so I get the extra one for each early.
Well, so be the one for being here if you were here by 11.
Okay, well then nobody was here by 11 except for me, Tylen, and Cooper.
Yeah, those are the ones who get one for being.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. I leave early in the morning. Just make sure I get what I'm owed.
I would
No, do it.
Nobody else does.
Yeah. That was more making sure nobody else gets what they're not owed. Which is like, yeah, kind of a more.
I'm sorry. Are you for a bled over? It's a real oil.
All right. So, everybody eventually reaches the point where the camp had been pretty much broken down. You see the 3 banners of House Sonder, House Procor, and House Hagland flying, although those are now being rolled up and carefully stowed away for probably not going to be brought out until much later. You might not see them until at least the games begin. So now those banners are rolled up. This is the last for a long time. It is all torn down. Those of you who have belongings here have been packed up, and you are getting ready to head out. Is there anything anybody wants to do here in the encampment, or anything you want to say before you guys head to Makalim City? Because our next scene will be in Makalim City.
We're in Maju Junction. Going straight to my.
Yeah.
I would just say that I make sure to have enough food for Kaya so that she doesn't get moody.
I'd probably try and pick more flowers while we're still out in nature.
There's a few. There's not a lot that grows out here though. It's mostly weed, especially because it's like mud and shale rock.
It's like it's flying.
Rocky landscape, but yeah, you find some interesting weeds.
Riverin is traveling separately, right?
Yeah, he's not going with you guys.
Oh, that's what I thought.
He'll be there probably in like a day or so.
Excited about your wedding?
Say that.
Well, my lord, it would be such a beautiful day. I'm sure you're excited.
I can barely contain it.
You look like you're trying to contain something else.
I
Our kindenajum.
have only spoken to my bride-to-be once, and it was with a script that basically said, will you marry me?
Should have pointed.
She knows about you.
But I'm afraid of...
What was she more than the family that he's about to marry into?
You have Bainara knowledge, right? Or like Federation knowledge?
Federation knowledge.
Yeah, go ahead and give me that knowledge check.
He's kind of fidgeting with his paws.
Several like the guards are like loading up the carriers and stuff. You guys are just kind of standing there waiting around for them to finish up before you get in yours.
+3.
So don't forget your hero point. 23. So Clan Sigrun daughter was elected when the Federation was first established. I will say actually that I'll give you your character information that Tyler mentioned earlier about the half-daughter family. So you don't know much about the half-daughter family. That is a very different kind of knowledge, but you know that there was a member of the half-daughter family who wanted to be appointed as Duke, but they had been scorned by Alderstein for a long time, and so he went into the Queen's Hall and cut his own throat in front of her. So they're Bushong. So the like Sigrun daughter, them being appointed has a lot of like kind of dark history for Alderstein of like bloodshed and like a lot more inner conflict than any of the other places that wanted to appoint a leader.
Okay, so sorry, I want to back up.
Yes.
So they are Federation, but they
Sigrun daughter was appointed to lead the Federation. Yes.
Sigrun daughter, and they're leading the Federation.
They are one of the council members leading the Federation.
Okay, so they're on the council. Sigrun daughter is the surname.
Yeah.
Okay. And who is leading them currently? Is it her father?
Drema Sigrun daughter. No, it's all Alderstein is a queendom. It's always a woman who leads. So it figured, okay. Drema also has a wife. I thought about that. The fields have a day by session.
Here.
Indira. Indira.
Sigrun daughter.
Yeah.
And what type of race are they?
They're half. Drema is a full Gaian and Indira is half Gaian.
Okay. Half Gaian. All right. And do we know how old she is?
Not really.
Okay, so we don't really know
I don't know a lot about that. 8 fracked super intensely here. That's a number. Yeah, year's just a number. Because they track it enough to know when somebody's an adult, but beyond that, you just kind of tell how old somebody is by like their age. Nobody really celebrates birthdays or anything like that.
All right, and I'm sorry, what is Alderstein?
Alderstein is the queendom between Rossade and Bernavel up north, directly behind your head.
Okay, so Queendom to the north.
Mm-hmm.
And they are like against the Sigrun daughters? Or?
Alderstein.
Okay, so they're from.
Which they were
But now they live in Marine.
But yeah, this part of the family. So like, for example, House Sonder, the Archduke of House Sonder is from Ware and still lives in Ware, and it's technically a both landed in rank. The landed is the person who was sent there. It's descending from the person from House Sonder who was sent there. So kind of like broke the family in half, kind of, to put some of their own dukes into the Federation. Okay, so the same with Sigrun daughter. A Sigrun daughter Duchess in Alderstein right now, and there's also a Sigrun daughter Duchess who broke away from the family in the Federation.
Okay. And they broke away from the family in like a friendly way?
Voluntary.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're still cool.
Yeah.
All right. And so they're just going to aim to
if at any point a country did not want the person who was leading to be there, they could just pull that person out and put somebody else in charge. So if they didn't like Drema Sigrun daughter, she would not be leading right now.
So Malim is okay with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Malim doesn't have a choice.
Okay, Malim. Are there Gaian people in Malim?
Yeah. There'd be like guides and stuff in Malim. Malim is pretty diverse, relatively.
So
Mostly humans because there's so many principalities.
Is there anything political going on in that city about? I'm sorry, am I just being like super?
I will tell you when you have reached the limit of the information, but you rolled a 23, so you didn't ask a number of questions.
So it's pretty diverse in Malim. What is the political sentiment? Are they like anti-federation like we saw in the other city?
The Singer Daughter clan, that is unknown.
Okay.
No one is really sure exactly what they're. They tend to vote against the principalities, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are anti-federation. That means that they are anti-Fenar, which is something everybody knows. That's why this marriage is happening.
Okay, so what do we think they expect Artie to do? Do we expect Artie to adopt their technology or be against it?
You do not know that one.
Okay, so we just marriage and we're trying to make like a unification of peoples here, even though there's a lot of divisive ideas. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry, just wanted to.
You would expect at the very least that Artie would not adopt technology out of his own beliefs. And on top of that, because Artie's going to be leading Ku Ridge, which is an Ukum duchy, there will be technology there.
Oh, so he's going to leave.
He's going to stay in Malim. Ku Ridge is a village south of Ukum City, so he'll be like a day's ride or so away from the city that he grew up in.
So small town map.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's staying in Malim though.
Yeah, he's staying in Malim. And he's staying in the duchy of Ukum where Landon leads. So he's going to be part of the duchy still. He's just going to be an earl.
Okay.
My name is Earl. Yeah.
All right. I'll say that's about the extent of the knowledge you got, but a 23 is pretty good. So you know quite a bit about Clan Singer Daughter.
Yeah, thank you. So,
More.
I guess I was on.
You should just read it.
How are you feeling about the technology? Or even in stamp in that?
He'll kind of look around. He'll say,
Landon is near you, and he's not looking at you, but you can see him side-eye when he hears that.
say, just Fenar does not believe in technology, and I am representing Fenar.
Old question. I just was curious.
It's okay. A little bi-curious.
Well, you feel a hand on your shoulder, Artie. Look up and see Truce Procor.
As a good man. Your father does the same.
Kind of looks over at Landon, who's helping load up a rather heavy piece of luggage, and just says,
You know, Bern also doesn't have a lot of technology, although they have tried to get the train at least. But your father knows that he represents Fenar, and even against his own wishes sometimes, embraces our customs. You're expected to do the same. It is good that you know this. It's a sign of a good leader. You will make an excellent earl. Just a bit more training and education.
What type of education would you recommend for me?
Not well.
I think that you will receive a good bit of it. It's just a matter of applying. In care of it. You've heard all of these words, but I'm not sure that they've all stuck.
He walks past you, gets into his carriage as the last bit of luggage is loaded up, and everybody prepares to head out. The long road ahead takes a good while, but knowing that you are so close to your destination actually makes the journey a little easier to swallow, knowing that like you were about to sleep in nice beds. Everybody's going to stay in the castle, one of the nicest castles. It is the castle where King Leonov had lived. It was the seat of power, Makalim City. So as you continue this journey, the carriage is kind of bumbling along. Eventually you get to the point where you are just a few kilometers away from Makalim City, heading westward. And the sun itself is just like, as you are heading toward Makalim City, like you just see the sun beginning to dip over the horizon, as it always sets over on the fjord side. So central Malim is a flat landscape of mud gravel. So you could see the towering structures of Makalim City long before you even reached it. But even while it was still dozens of kilometers away, you smelled the mixture of sea breeze and smog emanating from it as the winds brought the scent of the fjord mingling with the air of industry. Even those of you in carriages smell the city, regardless of whether your window The intertwined aromas, both pleasant and off-putting, are too pungent to ignore. As you get closer to the city, the natural scents are overwhelmed by the unnatural. You smell sulfur, diesel, and piss. Yet you also smell baked goods, flowers, and fresh linens. The layout of Macleum City is such that to the far east, north, and southern sides, vast swaths of and housing can be found, spread out like a web, extending from the more concentrated industrious center where the towering skyscrapers of the proper city stand. Small buildings, no greater than 3 stories in height, are all clustered together here. The streets are usually wide and made up of dirt and gravel, though they split off into narrow, dark alleys that you can see small eyes peering out from. At the sight of more than 100 Fenaran soldiers, representing 3 different principalities, many of the civilians here seem to glare. Some retreat inside and shutter their windows. A few bow, seemingly out of fear rather than reverence. The guards of the 3 houses with which you are traveling seem on higher alert here than you have yet seen them, but no trouble befalls you here in the outskirts. Your eyes shift from the discomfort of the lower outskirts to the grandeur of the central city's peaks. A few airships hover in the sky, tethered to skydocks at impossible heights. The low altitude of clouds in Malene causes some of the buildings to disappear into them, obscuring the tops of these colossal structures. From this distance, you can see the tubes, poles, and cables that connect buildings and systems to one another for a variety of purposes, ranging from power to communication to transport. The subway rumbles beneath you occasionally, rattling gravel on the road as it flies past unseen. And before you know it, you are at the gates of the central city. Stopped at the checkpoint by federal soldiers there wearing the orange and gold of the Federation. Unlike the traditional armor that you are used to seeing your own guards wearing, federal soldiers wear more advanced with combat helmets and flak jackets. These guards also hold rifles rather than swords, though you do see blades on their hips. As soon as this like massive entourage that you have is stopped and the banners that people are carrying just kind of like blow a bit in the wind as the guards come to a halt, the carriage that has Trousseau, Procor, Artie, Siegfried, and Landon in it. Just a little bit as Landon goes, "All right, I guess this is us, Ben. Trousseau." And Landon slowly steps out, and once again, as you have seen so many times before, the entire carriage tips a little bit as Landon tries to step out of it, eases his way out, and stretches a huge, massive stretch. And as he yawns, like you just hear, "Whoa!" This massive lion maw stretches downward. And then Trousseau comes out after him. And then from another carriage down the way, Emma, Beth, and Gil step out and begin to make their way up to the front of the group. And they begin there. As he passes by you, Ulysses up there at the front with Pasha, your golden Ursa bear, that you were riding at this point. Landon stopped telling you that you had to walk alongside her as punishment. So you were now permitted to ride her for the last leg of the journey. So you... Once he passes by you, he kind of gestures for you to come and join him up in conversation with the captain at the city gates. So you approach, you see an orcish man, sort of like this dark gray skin, and he's got these large tusks sticking out, but he's very well groomed, and has like that orange combat helmet and star representing the Federation, and looks to all of you, greets Landon.
Your Grace, President Trousseau. It's an honor to see all of you here. Gil, I trust that you are on your way to the castle, and when it says both would be good, yes, ideally before the sun sets. It's been a long journey, and I desire a bed that will not break when I rest on it. And the captain just kind of says, "Of course," looks around. Obviously, we cannot have all the guards in the castle, but room for them in the barracks. If you would have someone lead them there. And Landon nods to you, Ulysses. Ulysses here will take the guards to the garden barracks. And looks around. And the chapel as well, where the wedding is going to be held. I would have a couple of our people bring some of the belongings that we have for the wedding there, if that is all right too. And the captain kind of starts his head a bit. Believe that is the Iridian chapel. Or Iridian altar. Yes, that's correct. On the city square. I can have a couple of our guards escort your carriages to it if you set them aside.
And Lana kind of looks over to you, Liam, and says, would you go and tell Euphora and Aoife that they are going to be joining the carriages going to the wedding venue?
Yes, my lord.
And he turns back to the guard and says, please, lead the way to the castle. And the gates open. She's massive, begin to rise up. And just you see them pass up above the city walls. And there's just kind of like massive grating past city walls that you're looking at roughly like 10 or 20 meters tall stone walls that kind of surround the central city, which is what's on the map that I sent everybody. It's the central city. And then you guys have been in the outskirts, which is this vast, expansive swath of land. Took you a good while to get through trams. As those of you who are still sitting in the carriage, you suddenly feel all the carriages shake as the subway goes underneath of you again. And Lana gets back into the carriage with Ari and Siegfried, and then Truso climbs in after him, and Lana looks at the two of you.
Well, finally in the city. How are you two feeling?
Look around. I look out the window of the carriage, and I'm just kind of like, it doesn't look that exciting yet.
Oh well, Luckily, City is not as exciting as many would have you believe, especially given that much as what is here is technologically entertaining. Movie palaces and that sort of thing still remain from previous eras when they should have been destroyed. But these things freaking not tell.
Which brings me to what I'm going to tell you, and the carriage starts to move again as you guys are led. Kind of that I had made it clear to you before, but I'm going to say it again.
There are many temptations in Makalim City. You will be drawn to several things, curious about them. I cannot blame you for your curiosities. I will not fault you if you go and sit in a bar that has air conditioning or something of that matter. You cannot help that. Nearly every building here will have it. But you will not use phones. You will not do any such things. It's something that cannot be helped, that is one thing. But if I find out that you've gone out of your way to seek these things that are forbidden, there will be punishments that will include being confined to the castle for the entirety of my stay here. And I promise you, you do not want that. Neither do I. And have to appoint a babysitter. It would probably be you four. Just because that would be the most irritating.
You look back out the window now. You'd think they would have decorated more.
Well, I believe that many of the decorations are to come soon. We are bringing some of them after all.
How far are we from the wedding? Probably about 4 or 5 kilometers from the city.
Oh, sorry, time-wise.
Oh, time-wise, like a month.
Oh.
Still, we're arriving now.
We are a bit early. We left early because we weren't taking a train. We wanted to make sure we got here on time. The inaugural gala is tomorrow evening.
And what is happening again during the inaugural gala?
But this one,
Gala?
The inaugural gala is when, and at this point Truso speaks up. Then along the interview. This is when all of the houses have a chance to mingle in a more social setting. Any house that has arrived at that point, this is sort of the kickoff event for all of the festivities surrounding your wedding, Archer. So everyone will be there, all of the different houses, the duchesses, dukes who have chosen to come to the wedding. And it will be a chance to socialize, get to know one another, make deals, that sort of thing. It tends to be where people start making games as well, although the official pledge will take place at the tusk taking.
The tusk taking?
Yes, the feast from the boar that she killed.
Boar that I killed?
Yes.
Me?
You are expected to kill a boar, yes? And Leonard says, yes. I have told him many times that
I thought I was just participating in the hunt. I was going to help.
We still to help hunt the boar, and then you will be the one who kills the boar. The groom. This is expected of you.
And then like there's not like a question in his voice. He is telling you like you were going to do it.
Sounds very familiar, I'm sure.
And so as you continue through the city here, you eventually reach a point where as you continue through the city, you look out the window to an end and pick in the sights of Makalim City proper, where the buildings are now just sky high. You see them going through clouds. They're disappearing. Huge telephone lines and other like various tubes and pipes. You see like clouds of steam coming out of different pieces of machinery and such. It is very industrial here as you make your way through. So House Sonder, representing the Principality of Buern, took over Uqum, stripped it of much of the Malir culture, making its architecture far more Bangaran. The same occurred at Kazini and Kilsini when houses Procor and Hablin took over them respectively. Here in Makalim, however, this did not happen. Instead, House Candelin only marginally influenced the architecture, choosing to instead embrace the classical Malir styles with a modern flair. The result is a stunning combination of the domed rooftops and horseshoe archways associated with Malir architecture and the Gothic details of Erding make. Erding gargoyles protrude from the corners of buildings, often seen gripping telephone lines, while the city streets are lined with the classic ornate tiles of Malir make. Even Truso Procor, the most loyal Feinaran man you know, is unable to hide his admiration as he gazes through the windows at the buildings you pass. The beauty of this architecture and the masterpiece that is Kasri Candelin. Once Kasri Malim, the seat of power in the kingdom of Malim, last held by King Leonov. This grand rectangular structure sits atop a hill that overlooks the entire city. You can tell that it has been modified since Leonov's war, having been slightly expanded upon with dramatic vertical towers stretching out from each of its corners in traditional Erden fashion, but they do not clash with the original style of the castle. The castle itself is alive with flora. Palm trees stretch high into the sky both within and without the walls. Vines cascade from balconies, concealing the view of other balconies below them. And despite the abundance of vegetation, it doesn't give you the impression that it is overgrown by any means. Every leaf is trimmed with care to ensure that it complements the architecture it adorns. As you continue up toward this, there's like a long sort of like spiraling the hill toward the castle. Truso kind of like looks out at the window and like leans his head out actually to take in the full sight of it and just sighs.
Believe that King Leonov gave up living in such a beautiful place for a frivolous war. Such unnecessary violence.
And the carriage entourage continues up that pathway. You continue through, and once you reach the point where like there's only stairs left, the carriages stop in front of the steps and come up to take the carriages away and take the horses, and everybody gets out of the carriages. At this point now, it is everybody except for Ulysses, Aoife, and Euphora here. Aoife and Euphora, your carriages at a certain point branched off to go somewhere else. It was you guys and your carriage with Mihat and Kaya, and then two other carriages that are carrying all of the like wedding stuff that you guys have brought with you. And then Ulysses, you walked with all of the guards to the barracks, which is just south of the castle, bit ways behind them right now. But as you approach the castle, the federal banner of House Candelin hangs from numerous streetlights here. As you have seen in the city as well, though they are far more abundant and much larger this close to the castle. The banner is turquoise on one side and orange on the other, with a pink flame in the center, and the house motto underneath each banner reads, "Dark extinguished by flame." You see each of the banners just kind of gently blowing in the sea breeze here. And you, this high up now, you're kind of away from more grittier city smells that were especially powerful in the outskirts of the city. And so you can actually smell more of the sea breeze. And as you look over to the west from the castle entrance, when you turn around, you just see the sun setting over the fjord and just illuminating the ships and stuff that are parked there, either like by the docks or some that are like up in the sky, tethered to sky docks. And so there's just this massive, beautiful view. And then off in the center of the fjord is a massive that you can see. And Landon kind of like leads the way up partly because he's able to take the steps like 4 or 5 at a time. So by the time that all of you have gotten up there, he is already at the top of the stairs. And you see these 2 massive doors. They're about 5 meters tall. And they have a golden dragon on each side of them, kind of like facing each other, etched in very beautifully and ornately. The doors are wooden, but they appear to have been sealed with something possibly magical. You're not sure. And Truso kind of looks at them and rolls his eyes a little bit. And the doors have ajar, but they are pushed open a little bit more by a couple of Condellan soldiers wearing the turquoise and pink of the house, who give all of you a slight bow as you make your way up into the castle. And standing on a turquoise and pink rug that leads up to a massive stairwell that just kind of branches off into 2 that disappear around you, and this huge like stone that you are in. The foyer itself is as big as the castle that you grew up in. This is an enormous building, and you've like had to pass through corridors. This place is just gigantic and gorgeous. You can't imagine exploring the entire thing during the month that you're here. And sitting in the middle of it, you see a enormous human man. Most Condellan boys are actually pretty large. It is theorized that there's Gain blood somewhere in their genes, but no one has ever been able to prove this, and they haven't been able to trace their lineage back to find who the Gain might have been. Regardless, this huge man stands a bit under 2 meters tall. His shoulders are incredibly wide, barely fitting into the thick blue coat that he wears over his turquoise and gold armor. He has a mop of curly red hair which blends into his thick beard, both of which are clearly starting to turn gray. He seems to be scowling as you enter, just kind of glaring, and then as his face breaks into a big smile as he pulls his brother-in-law into a huge hug, as Jacob Condellan, the Duke of Macalim, stands before you. And for the 3 of you who are here, that's Caden, Cooper, and Dad, who are present right now.
No. Good night.
Yeah, you told them, but then you would have come.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just wanted you to go tell them that what they were going to do.
I didn't know I was going to see them this whole time.
You're here. Jacob will say,
How would you...
or sorry, that's a different voice.
How was your trip there, brother?
And Landon says, it was
hard. We made it. Some trouble on the road, but nothing we couldn't handle. He says, that's good to hear.
the martial kind of trouble that you couldn't handle. How about you, Artyom? You had all the trouble for him. Your uncle kind of like ruffles your mane a bit. You're tall, especially because you're a megafolk, but he is still like taller than you, just by just a bit. So he's able to like put a big meaty hand on your head. He's my uncle. He's Alicia's brother.
Uncle Jacob, there certainly was trouble and I dealt with it.
That is good to hear. And you, Seyfried, I know you would have dealt with the trouble. I've heard all about you.
We're into the trouble too.
I've also heard that.
Oh, yeah. I, probably.
You seem tired.
I'm just bored. Oh, we'll get to drinking shortly. Oh,
we're talking.
oh. And he looks at Landon again. How's my sister doing? She missed me. She wished she could come. And,
Landon just kind of goes, well, she would have enjoyed arriving here. She wanted to attend the wedding, but it was more important that we have a Sonder back in Upum. So, also, I'm not entirely certain that she was ready to see her baby boy married off.
And Jacob kind of looks to you, Liam.
And how would you say?
Being there, Liam.
She is well now.
Good there.
Climate, wouldn't say it agrees with her, but
No,
she thrives anyway.
doesn't agree with me either, but it is a bit easier this far south, admittedly. At least I get to see the sun.
All right, well, kind of looks around at everybody else, shakes Truso and Gil's hands, greets the women, says hello to Alia, and then has a couple of, you see, who, not a woman that you see who, see like this elven woman, or sorry, human woman, review, who has like this short red hair, that kind of like has a long strand in the back. So it's a really unique Arden style of hair. So it's in front, and then long braid that she has pluming in the back there. That she wears like fine blue dress. And he
Danger. Is it my stewardess? You what? You have the wrong common knowledge. On her.
Yeah, no. Personal guard.
Oh yeah, that's somebody else. Whoops. Oh, she doesn't have a whole lot of common knowledge because she's just the stewardess.
Okay.
She
Quite reverent demon-born me.
So she
Cocated, wow.
Yeah. She kind of looks to all of you. It says and gives you a very deep bow.
Well, I'm the stewardess here of the castle, Castle Recondellan. It will be an honor for me to assist you here.
And she waves to a bunch of servants who go and grab luggages.
All of your things will be brought to your rooms for you.
And she shows Trusso, Amabeth, and Gil to their rooms. And Jacob turns to you and Alia and says,
I think you should probably head to the barrack. Wife and the reef would want to have a conversation with the two of you. You, stay free, Archim. Landon, we'll be headed to the balcony. Have a drink, huh?
and he leads all of you up the stairs. He calls out to May as she heads up and says, "Oi, would you bring us a bottle of Nether's finest? That'd be great." And she says, "Right away, sir," and continues up the stairway. He leads you up several tiers of stair here. The castle itself has not been retrofitted with any electricity, anything like that. You're also getting the feeling it doesn't really need it. The sea breeze kind of flows through here very nicely. It is constructed in a way that allows it to be kept cool and very temperate at all times. And so it's also lit by various candles and such here, especially as the sun sets. You're seeing a bunch of few lamp layers come around and light some of the lanterns and such around the castle. But he leads you up to the 6th floor balcony and takes you out into a huge one that overlooks the fjord itself. And so you just get this beautiful view of this finishing setting here. And you see these before the sun, just below you, you see one of the first tiers of the city below the castle. And then you also see this long bridge that connects the southeastern side with the northeastern side of the city. And it's this just huge stone bridge that underneath, but there are also like multiple tiers of like building ways and walkways. So instead of just a bridge, it's also like another plateau of sorts that has multiple levels. Think like multiple strip malls stacked on top of each other, and then there's a bridge on top of them. Just kind of walks over, and then it's suspended in the air as well. So there's like docks and ships underneath of it too. And Jacob just kind of looks up at you and notices you looking at that and says,
Hodari's Overlook. It's a beautiful place. We'll have to go there at some point. Plenty of shopping and trouble you can get into there. One of our finer regions.
He sits down at the table for the whiskey to be brought to them. And that is where we're going to go ahead and end this episode. So, where last we left off.
I have no idea at this point.
She kind of like stoops down to Kaya's eye level and takes her hand and kind of shakes it with both hands.
It's good to see you.
Gilmore, best gardener you've ever met.
She'll go up and look at the flowers.
I see you have some Erden ones here. These tiles were stained with blood. Judy was assassinated here on our wedding day.